The anime starts by introducing us to the protagonist. I'm Chikamita, a second-year student who has doubts about her future outside of school. For this reason, she is talking to her English teacher, Masami Onigata, about what she wants to do after leaving high school. She recommends doing something she likes, and that makes people happy, like making manga. However, he has nothing safe about his future. The next day, Prota is talking to her friend, and Kuo Nanasaki, who encourages him to study more for the final exams. Since leaving high school, he will only have two options, which would be to work on something he likes or choose a career to study at the university. He prefers to focus on studies for now and asks for help and Kuo with literature, because it is the matter that is given to him worse. Upon arriving at the classroom, he sees that his partner Hikari Tsuneki is sitting at her table. He asks for permission and she only gets up, joking that she didn't know it was her place. But her friends joke with Hikari, making her understand that she only does it to annoy Soichi, since her sister beat her in a costume contest. She mentions that she is just playing, and when the Prota moves away, she stands watching the table thinking that she was sitting there a while ago and she is rubbishing. But when she looks up, Hikari's friend, Yoko Kikuchi, is watching him closely. So he hides and starts looking elsewhere. The next day, the Prota is in the school cafeteria when he suddenly sees that Hikari is eating at a table. Soichi approaches Hikari and asks him if it is true that he will be dedicated to making mangas. This surprises him, so he wants to know how he found out about that, and she mentions that Onigata speaks wonders about him. But this one says that it's just an example, since he has never drawn manga, but still they invite him to sit down and eat with. Soichiro does it, despite knowing that they will bother him again, and Hikari mentions that he does manga when he graduates, so he can be called perverted, remembering that in class he stayed looking at the table indecently after she stopped sitting there, and that convinced him that he thought of perverted things. But he only comments that he wants to focus on studying literature, because it is the matter that is given to him worse, and for that reason he asked Ikuo for help. Later, the Prota dedicates himself to studying in the library next to Ikuo, when suddenly Hikari appears to ask for help, because he is also bad at literature, and if he fails an exam, he will not be able to go on a certain family trip. Already with this insistence, they have no choice but to accept her in their study group. Following days pass studying, and after the final exams, they are all seeing the results. The Prota realizes that he went through very good grades, just like Hikari. That is why he decides to thank Ikuo, since with his help it was possible. And this Ikuo takes the opportunity to invite him to the intensive summer course of academia, which consists of a hotel in the mountains for 2 weeks. But Soichi answers that he will think about it, because he only wants to relax after the exams. He walks to Kaza to see a new French bakery, to which he would like to take his sister. Upon seeing him, he realizes that Hikari is working there, who is with an older man, causing him to be jealous of her, which leads him to think that if he had a job, he could have a girlfriend like her. And that is why he decides and calls Ikuo to confirm his assistance in the summer. When he attends the first class, Soichi regrets because he did not do his best on the first day. He was wrong. Then she locks herself in her room, opens the window, and shouts that she is not going to give up and will continue with her plan to become more popular with girls. Just at that moment, a hand peeks out of her window and scares him, making him fall. A girl enters there, and Soichi, scared, thinks she is a ghost from some student. Just to realize that it is about Hikari and all confused, Soichi asks her what she does there. She replies that she was kidnapped. She was put in a car and left there, to then clarify that it was her parents who took her. This is because they discovered that she worked outside the school and she was punished in summer. She still tried to go on a trip to the beach with her friends, but when they discovered her, they sent her here to attend the summer course. Hikari begins to sneeze, and Soichi tells her that she must change into dry clothes before it gets cold. However, all of Hikari's clothes are wet, so she starts looking between Soichi's clothes and wears a pajama that he had among his things. The next day, Soichi meets Ikuo in the cafeteria and tells him what happened, clarifying that he could not sleep at all. Both wonder how Hikari is in the summer course, since he was not in the class of either of them. Hikari arrives at that moment and invites them to eat together with his classmate, Mako Yoshida, who, together with her, are the only ones in the special class of recovery, something exclusive only for the two of them. Hikari mentions Soichi to him that they discovered his escape attempt. For this, they punished her by sending her to wash the bathrooms, and she will have to do it with her clothes. However, it does not seem important to him since he only imagines her wearing hers. Mako tells them that at least there is a laundry, and there she could wash her clothes if she messes up. When they are there, Hikari mentions to Mako that thanks to her, she has improved her feminine tricks because it is something that she had never done. Mako tells her that she is lucky, and that she would also like to wash her boyfriend's clothes in the future. She, surprised, asks what boyfriend she is referring to which Mako responds that she refers to Soichi, insinuating that Hikari and he are together, and that it is also the rumor that everyone comments in the course. Hikari takes the opportunity to make it clear that they are in the right, and that the one with the idea was Soichi, because she likes her to wear her clothes, and so water her voice, noting that she excites him to wear the clothes after she wears them, and that she has very strange tastes. Meanwhile, Soichi is in the common room when she hears other students talking about Hikari. They comment what Hikari has told everyone in the cafeteria about what she does with her boyfriend, and that apart, they saw her leave her room. Soichi can't take it anymore and confronts them by clarifying that they did nothing and that things aren't what they seem. She only tried to help her because she entered through her window after her attempt to escape. Course didn't work. The students don't believe her. In this, Hikari appears, who acts in a very strange way, lovingly treating him to deliver the clothes he had just lent him. Soichi, surprised, wonders if she hit her head while washing. So Mako tells him that he should praise her since it's the first time she washes in her life. Soichi's still confused. He just tries to clear up the misunderstanding with the students. Hikari hears that more students are coming, takes Soichi by the hand, and takes him to a place where they are alone. There, he thanks her for helping her and also takes the opportunity to apologize for having created problems for him. He thanks her for washing her clothes and tells her that he never thought they would accuse him of having a partner in a summer course, something that left him surprised. Kari confesses that it's the first time she goes, because she doesn't do it at home, and only helps sometimes by doing a stint at night. Soichi didn't expect this, since she doesn't seem that kind of person, so she asks if it's serious. She bothers to answer that to try it. She will visit him tonight and cook him something, and that he should not sleep, because if that happens, she will wake him up in a heartbeat. As Hikari does not have an apron, she takes the clothes that Soichi lent her to use again, and so as not to burn herself when cooking. And before leaving, Soichi tells her to invite Ikuo to dinner. It was already night. She prepares a Spanish omelette that she learned to make at her work. Ikuo asks how she did to get the ingredients, since it is not that easy. Hikari replies that it was thanks to Mako's help, who is a friend of someone from the cafeteria. Everyone is pleased with the food and thank her, since they had never tried something like this. This makes her feel happy for being the first time she cooks for someone. Soichi is happy that she sees it with other eyes since she did not know that she had a secret skill, such as cooking, and that she also does very well. Mako mentions to Soichi that she should be happy since it is as if she had a wife, as she has a girl who cooks and washes her clothes. The nervous one drowns with the food, and at that moment, Kari takes the opportunity to ask if he would like to marry her, something that makes it worse than before. Shortly after, Kari and Soichi meet in the kitchen, and while she was washing the dishes, he warns that no one should come. He asks her why the top she teaches the navel is not placed, because it looks very good on her. To what she has been strange, she asks if she likes navels, and Soichi answers that yes, but hers more, which makes her completely blush. When she tries to leave, he tells her that she doesn't have to risk it, referring to the fact that she shouldn't try to escape again, and that she can stay there. Kari tells her that he doesn't want to involve her, because this is not his problem. However, Soichi insists and tells her that if she leaves, she won't be able to study because she would worry, and he makes it clear that he won't let her go, something that makes her smile, taking it as a nice gesture. Towards this, Kari comments that maybe the weather will get worse. For this reason, he will accept to stay a little longer. A week after having started the course, Soichi is in class thinking that she is starting to get used to being there, but she does not know if Hikari thinks the same, when suddenly she appears behind him, scares him, which makes everyone in the classroom turn around and start seeing them, murmuring about them, which bothers Hikari. After classes, he These two meet at the pool to talk, where she thinks that those classes are very annoying. Soichi makes her know that many of the class boys are upset about him, and because she thinks she's a provocative girl, but that she will surely fit soon. Hikari asks her why she accepted to go to the summer course, and if she has a dream to fulfill. He stays silent, thinking about the question, and she tells him that she understands, since she is no longer studying and entering a good university. That night, Soichi is in her room studying, when she remembers Hikari's question. What makes her think that she can't tell him that she was her reason to want to improve and attend the summer course? Suddenly, a loud noise interrupts him outside the door of her room, though he approaches to open it. When he does, it's Hikari, who is on the other side and scares him. Soichi asks him why he can't touch the door like a normal person, as he thought he was a ghost and scared him, also wanting to know why he visits him so late, to which Hikari answers that he gets bored, since he does not have his phone, because his parents took it away. Without a doubt, he passes to the room while Soichi looks in the hallway to check that no one has seen her enter. Then he tells Hikari that he is busy because he is preparing everything for the class the next day. Then she asks him if he is busy, how he has time to eat ramen, and asks him to give him one. To which he replies that he has no more, because he only has the leftover he just ate. He offers her the leftovers while he thinks if she is able to accept it and eat it. Without thinking, Hikari accepts with joy and does it, while Soichi is speechless, thinking that she will have nightmares again when she sees her like that. In his thoughts, he wonders how he could dare to do something like this, because he has her in his room with his clothes, eating the leftovers of his ramen, making him doubt his intentions. There she suggests that she should study, and she responds that she is fine, deciding to stay to study together. But Soichi cannot be calm because of that, since with Hikari close, she cannot concentrate, especially because she is lying on her bed, so she can only admire her, and that makes her fantasize a lot with her. Wondering what she does with a girl in her room alone, again Hikari interrupts him, expressing how bored she is, wishing to have gone to the beach trip instead of going to the course, since there he could have done so many things, such as using his bikini. Soichi thinks it would have turned out very well in the photo with the bikini, though she asks if he would like to see it. He replies that hopefully he could, without knowing that Hikari is asking him if he really wants to see him right now. Later, Hikari and Soichi go to the men's bathroom that is alone, because the student time is until 9 p.m. Hikari wishing to take the opportunity to see her bikini, while he only has a pair that she gave him, being a girl's garment. Soichi asks why he couldn't show it in his room, but she replies that he doesn't like that place, since he didn't want the mosquitoes to bite her. Hikari asks how the bikini looks, and this blushed opinion that she looks very provocative, making her happy. When she hears that, Soichi just stays to admire how beautiful she looks with the bikini, and observing her navel, along with the mark of her pants on her waist. She tells him that before leaving he should try to bathe, since there are thermal waters, so Hikari convinces him to get into the water. While both are there, they hear a noise and someone approaching. For this, she asks him to think something fast before he runs out of air, and then hide under the water. At that moment, a teacher enters asking Soichi what is he doing so late there, because the time for bath for students has already passed, asking him to go to sleep. Soichi doesn't know what to do, since if he goes out and the teacher sees the stop, he will think badly of him. Even so, he decides to go out and try to make the teacher leave. But when he does, an eruption is noticed, and Soichi offers to give him a massage. Upon seeing this, the teacher gets scared and tells him that he has exams to correct, that he does not feel like bathing so much, and runs out of the place. Soichi falls into the water relieved, as she managed to run away from the teacher, and so Hikari could get out of the water. But because she held her breath for a long time, she fainted. Soichi takes her and takes her to her room since he was very worried, and upon arrival she tells him that she was only accompanied because she wanted to enter. At that moment she invites him to pass, but when he opens the door and turns on the light, he sees his intimate clothes hanging. For this reason, Hikari turns off the light immediately. Soichi barely tells him that he didn't see or smell anything, that it would be better to go back to his own. But she stops him and invites him to go to another place to breathe fresh air. Being outside, Soichi begins to ask about his work, since he is curious, also wanting to know if the cook at his work is his boyfriend. At that moment, She gets upset and asks him when he saw her at work, and if he was the one who told her that she worked at the restaurant. He denies that and clarifies that he has not mentioned it to anyone. But Hikari tells him that it was someone from the school who told his parents about his work. Back to school, Soichi is thinking about what he could do wrong, because after his last conversation with Hikari, they have distant. Upon arriving at the classroom, she sees Hikari again, sitting on her lap, talking to her friends. When she sees him, she mentions in a loud voice that she hopes he has a boyfriend to hug her, which makes Soichi fantasize with her, imagining as if she were his partner. But she reacts and realizes that her illusions are becoming very recurrent. At that moment, as she moves the chair to sit down, she sees a letter that Hikari left, where he quotes him behind the school, and when he arrives there, he asks why he invited him. Hikari replies that it was only to return the clothes he had lent her, and that was all. So after delivering the clothes, he said goodbye. But Soichi immediately asks why she acts strangely with him, since she started to behave like this since the last time they talked at the hotel pool where they took the course. To which she replies that she has her reasons, but Soichi does not understand her, asking him to please give her an explanation, and also asks him why he does not want them to see them together, warning him that as long as he does not answer, he will not accept the clothes back. She explains that she does not want them to see them together since her friend Yuki Takata, after arriving from the trip, asked her if she had met someone there, to which she replied that no, and had to invent things so that she would not doubt. That is why she moved away, because Yuki is very intelligent and would notice it. This being the reason for her change of attitude. At that moment, a girl interrupts them and they get scared and then ask her what she is doing here and who she is. She introduces herself as Makoto Kamisaki from the disciplinary committee, who informs them that she is there because they told her that there are couples doing things in the school. And that was when she saw them. Hikari asks if she confused them with a couple, and Makoto replies that normally the backyard and the cassette are where they usually go. Makoto tells them that he had previously been in the rabbit's house and saw a couple, but what they were doing there was so extreme that he ran out. Then he left in a hurry, since they were doing things with pie and carrots. But what surprises them the most is that the girl he saw was very good previously and even denounced an illegal job to the director. At that moment, Hikari is surprised and asks him if it was a Spanish bar. Makoto tells him that he cannot give information about that, so Hikari comments that if he does not answer, he will tell the director that he is not doing his job. Because of that, he has no choice but to answer him, and explains that he does not know the details, but that a bar was mentioned. Hikari gets upset and leaves, asking Soichi to accompany him, heading to the rabbit's house to clarify his doubts. When they get there, they meet Satsuya Araki next to Yuki, and at that moment, Hikari tells her directly that they should talk. For this, Satsuya only comments that they had already finished playing and left. And at that moment, Hikari asks Yuki if he accused her with the committee. Yuki replies that she did it because she thought that Hikari liked Satsuya, and for this she took the opportunity so that she wouldn't disturb him. Hikari asks her when she realized her job, to which Yuki replies that she accidentally saw her at the new bakery in the neighborhood next door. She also knew how strict her parents were, and that's why she took the opportunity to prevent her from going on the trip. However, Hikari takes it in a good way and mentions that at least he met the boy who would do something like this. Then she remembers what Soichi said about how nothing can stop a girl in love. There she mentions Yuki, who understands her, thanking her for telling the truth, assuring her that she will not mention the subject anymore. Yuki stares at Soichi and asks why he is there, but Hikari responds that he suspected him first, and he just wanted her to know the truth. That same day, Hikari invites Soichi to a meal where she cooks as a compensation for doubting him, offering her the rest of the food for everything that happened in the course. But Soichi, upon receiving it, takes it in her hands and, by surprise, invites her to go to the beach. After listening to it, Hikari blushes completely, accepting her invitation without a doubt. Upon arriving there, Soichi tells her that she was invited, thinking that previously she lost her trip and shared it with her friends. He even took a ball to play, but she takes it away and goes away to throw it, and when he does, the wind takes it and falls into the water. Soichi goes into the shore to look for the ball, But when she returns, she falls and gets wet. Hikari is scared and approaches just to realize that nothing happened to her, thanking her for doing all that for her. But when she gives her hand to help him get up, a wave surprises him, which makes them fall and get wet. When he gets up, Soichi looks up and is surprised to see Hikari, who is all soaked, and smiles when he notices that his blouse is transparent. Both sad and blushed, turn around to not see each other. But Hikari at that moment has a tender smile because he knows that he likes to be like this with Soichi. Then the two continue to talk about how that moment brings back memories of when they went to the men's bathroom. Hikari confesses that after that day, he has taken as a habit to bathe with the uniform. So Soichi responds that this is quite strange. She gets angry and tells him that he cannot judge her if he has not tried it before. But when Soichi turns around, she confronts him by telling him that he is a pervert for seeing her. At that moment, Hikari throws himself at him, and the two of them fall into the water. And being smiling, she asks him if he is excited. Aoki Soichi replies that he is not, but he is surprised when Hikari confesses that she is, and that she liked how he behaved in the school courtyard. Suddenly, Hikari lies down on him and kisses him. Later they meet on the beach shore, where Hikari changes to put on a dry clothes. Meanwhile, Soichi only looks for a way to confess what she feels, and when she leaves the bathroom, she tries to confess, but she interrupts him by thanking him, since for his help he learned many things in general and of himself, influencing him in his future and pushing him to decide what to do after finishing school. She also tells him that she talked to the chef of the restaurant where she worked, so that she would teach her to cook and so on after finishing school. Study cooking somewhere else. Soichi, quite sad, tells him that they still have a year left and that she would like to go out with her that time. But Hikari does not accept because she would not like to go out with him for a year and then leave. And she does not want to do things on average. Then she confesses that she wants to maintain her friendship for now, since he was the one who made her decide, waiting for her to respect her decision. Soichi knows what is best for her and accepts it. And at that moment, Hikari takes him by the hand, hug him, giving him a goodbye kiss. 5 years later, we see a more mature Soichi, working at the same restaurant where Hikari worked. The owner of the restaurant asks him about his nutritionist studio, and if he knows someone else in that business. So Soichi answers that he does, and that he has his reasons to be a professional in that career. He confesses that he will soon have a baby, and he will not be able to take care of the restaurant so often. And because of this, he had to ask someone for help, being treated as a girl who used to work there, and who returns from learning from Spain. Besides, she heard many good things about her, such as, for example, that she is good at making tortillas and veined meat. At that moment, the bell rings at the restaurant door, and the voice of a girl enters. Soichi turns around to see, and she notices that it is Hikari who enters the place. She only asks if it is the student who is working there, and the surprised only answers that yes, the two pretending to know each other for the first time. Now we are in a new story, where we find Soichi playing video games with Aiku and Tatsuya. At that moment, a girl who is also playing went down the stairs, so everyone is surprised to see her, and realizes that it is Toru Miyamai, who asks them if they are playing in the school, and these surprised comment that they are playing Shika Daisuki, to which Toru tells them that he already knows because of the sound, and that she also plays it. That's why he asks them if they want to exchange objects. Soichi offers to exchange her Pure Deer's book set. While these are directed below the stairs, which is the place where they always play. Just when they arrive, they realize that Toru is lying there. And when he gets up, he tells Soichi that he was waiting for him to be able to finish what they had started, and that he had an object for him. After that, they go to a karaoke. And being there, Kuo asks Soichi how they could end up in this place. This explains that Toru convinced him to go to this place to exchange objects. At that moment, she decides to sing. While Ikuo and Soichi wonder what they are doing there, since they only know anime and video game song. When the song of Toru begins, they are surprised to see that he will sing the song of the magician mask, Santa Karma's, the song of an anime. After finishing, Toru will rest while the boys are watching him. Tatsuya mentions that it is time to exchange, but she responds that she first needs to rest for 5 minutes. At that moment, Soichi is eating a pudding, and Toru asks if she likes it. Without thinking about it, she asks him a little, and this smile does not know what to say, because giving him yours would be an indirect kiss. So Ikuo offers him another one apart, and she accepts it without any problem. After this, at the end they exchange objects, and they as a thank you invite her to play another video game multiplayer that is about to come out called manhwa. Toru accepts Feliz, and with this he joins the group, and they arrange the space where they play in the school to be able to be the four. The next day, everyone is playing manhwa under the stairs, and after several games they obtain several objects. In one of them, Ikuo receives as a reward a rabbit item, but he comments that it will not serve his character, so he gives it to Toru, who can use it better. She realizes that Soichi also wanted it, so that she does not feel bad, she decides to give her a keychain with the shape of her character in the game she made. Soichi accepts it very happily, and tells her to take care of it as if it were her in person. Later, everyone decides to go to the arcade, since that same day is the launch of the Emilius's hook machine. When he arrives, Tatsuya is the first to play on the machine and tries to win the stuffed toy of the character of Toru, but only gets a few curitas, which he gives away, and Chikin wants to offer one to Toru. But this one does not pay attention, since he is looking closely at the machines of Guzgal, so the Prota asks him if he is interested, and Toru answers yes, because she used to play it in high school, but she didn't think there would be machines there. Soichi explains that it is quite popular and that there is a PvP event every week, and at night there are many good players. She tells him that during the second and third year he played a lot, to the point of regretting it. Soichi, seeing that there are not many people, decides to invite her to play co-op, not knowing that some children were waiting for rivals to challenge them, which brings back memories of Toru, of why he liked the game, and without difficulty, he wins this game against them with the help of Soichi. Seeing the boys upset, Prota decides to give one of them the keychain that Toru had given him as a gift. This is because they had a fight when playing against a girl. Soichi tells Toru, and she understands it because of the age they have. Very happy, she tells Soichi that she is happy to have played Guzgal together, and that she feels happy, because all that is due to him. At that moment, she asks him to be her partner in the game, and promises not to hit players after dying. The next day, the boys are playing manhwa, who have improved a lot, being able to learn to play more in a group. However, Toru must go because she has physical education classes, and everyone says goodbye to her. Before leaving, she tells Soichi to meet after classes to play Guzgal in the arcade, and Kuo mentions Soichi that he noticed something strange when receiving Toru's invitation. And without further ado, he confesses that playing so much Guzgal has left him short of money. Later in the arcade, Soichi tries to look for other game options that are not so expensive. This bores Toru, and she plays Guzgal again. After a while, she offers her place to another person, and looks for Soichi, who is talking to Makoto and Kyuko Tuno about the disciplinary committee. Toru says goodbye and tells them that he must leave since he must go to the academy. Soichi asks him which academy he goes to, and she replies that he attends the one in the station. Kyoko is surprised, wanting to know if that is the elite academy, and Toru confirms that that is so. It is a very popular academy where teachers are always busy, and that is why she ends up leaving. Kyoko asks Soichi where she knows Toru, and he explains that she is a friend of his sister, and lately they have become friends. In addition to playing in a row, Kyuka also wants to know if he does not attend any academy, to which he responds that no. She advises that he should take studies more seriously because he can retry, and maybe that way they will be companions next year. Well, he is a year older. That night, Soichi, quite worried, decides to go to the academy where Toru attends to look for a notebook and study. But when he got there, he didn't expect to see Ikuo outside the entrance, who had previously told him that he would stay at home studying. Soichi asks what Ikuo does there, when he sees that Toru comes out to talk to him, and then they enter the academy. This is something that leaves him quite confused, and after this he goes home. The next day, Toru and Soichi are in the arcade waiting for their chance to play Guzgal. At that moment, a boy recognizes Toru and exclaims that she is the player of which everyone talks in the arcade, and asks him if he would accept to play with him. Before accepting, Toru asks Soichi if he thinks it's okay. He accepts and asks him to notify him when he finishes playing, while he goes to see other games. When returning to the Guzgal room, Soichi notices that Toru is arguing with his partner Hikari. This is because one of the children who beat Toru before is Takeshi, his friend, and for this, Hikari wants to challenge her in a battle in Guzgal. Toru undoubtedly accepts the challenge and joins Soichi, play against Hikari and Takeshi. After a pretty tough match, the prototype and Toru win the game, so Soichi takes the opportunity to congratulate her on her performance. And Toru cannot contain the happiness that he caused by winning with Soichi. However, Tatsuya interrupts them, shouting from afar that they should leave, and that he will try to gain some time so that they can escape. At that moment, they realize that at the arcade entrance is the president of the disciplinary committee, looking for the students who are there. Protai Toru take the opportunity to escape from the back. Being outside the arcade, Soichi invites Toru to rest in a nearby cafe. On arriving there, he asks where he knows Hikari, to which she replies that he met her in high school, and they were friends and used to go to arcade halls together. At that moment, Soichi interrupts everything in a hurry and apologizes for asking so much, because he thinks it has nothing to do with his things. But Toru tells him that he does have the right to know, because thanks to him he feels happy and has more fun. Soichi gets happy and tells him that this is thanks to the Miliusa games and Shika Daisuke, but Toru explains that it's not just that, because she thinks that games are fun. However, what matters the most is who you play with. At that moment, Toru receives a notification from the game, where he offers him the option to create a retort with a partner. For this he asks Soichi if he wants to try this new option, and he accepts. At the end, Toru notices that Soichi, after eating an ice cream, has left a cherry and asks if he can eat it. He says yes, and at that moment he remembers when they were in the karaoke, because she also asked him to try his pudding. Toru tells him that she likes the things that others ask to eat. Soichi tells him that he can eat her with one condition, in which she must promise that she will not ask anyone else. And Toru, all happy, accepts to then eat the cherry. The next day, Soichi is at school, where she is in the rabbit cage talking to Ikuo and Tatsuya. These two were punished for being found in the arcade, and because of this, they were sent to clean the cages. Ikuo tells the prota that when they were punished, Tatsuya was so happy that the president of the disciplinary committee was upset. And for this reason, he also prohibited them from entering the arcades until the exams were over. Soichi pensativo asks Ikuo and Tatsuya what they think about Toru, as he saw them entering the station's academy. Ikuo doesn't understand if that has something of the opposite that he saw Tatsuya with Toru at the station. Soichi asks him annoyingly if that is true, but Tatsuya clarifies that he met her because he wanted a keychain like the one she had given him. Between laughter, Ikuo annoys Soichi because he noticed the fear and jealousy he had. He takes the opportunity to explain to Soichi that he thought he had seen a primary school classmate who was his first love at the academy, and that is why he went to make sure. He was surprised that when he got there he found Toru, so he decided to tell her that he was there, and she without a doubt agreed to help him in his search, and which reproaches Soichi about his interest in Toru, since he gets nervous and does not admit that he likes her, in addition to the fact that he only says that he respects her as a player, something that none believe. Tatsuya already tells him that both know that he has been interested in Toru for a long time, when objects were exchanged, and that what happens between the two from now on will only depend on him. Later, Soichi returns to classes where Hikari is and asks him to accompany him since he needs to talk to her. Seeing that there are many students, he takes him to a more private place, and when he arrives there, she bothers him to run him and reminds him that he should not talk about his work. Soichi is confused and explains that it has nothing to do with that, because he just wanted to ask her some things about Toru. She tells him that the two were part of a group of high school players, and at that time there were boys who liked girls like that. And between the two, Toru was the most popular and treated everyone equally, something that created illusions for them, because they tried to show them their good side, that she beat them both in games and in studies. This destroys their pride, and thanks to this many ended up moving away from Toru. That also bothered the girls because she always had the intention of everyone and caused them jealousy. She tried to make them realize, but Toru never understood it, and thanks to what happened when they reached the third year, everyone got away from her. Hikari asks Soichi if this has happened to her, but he answers that it has not, because he never had much ego. She mentions that maybe Toru would do well to someone like him, and that he should not move away, so Soichi is happy and confirms that he will not leave her alone. After this, Soichi calls Toru to find out why she didn't go to school and asks if she's sick, but she answers that she's not because she just fell asleep. Toru asks if they will play Guzgal, but Soichi tells him that he heard the president of the committee say that they will monitor the arcade. That is why it is no longer safe to go. She invites him to her house and he tells him that he will go alone, because the others are punished, and listening to that makes her happy. Later, when she arrives where she lives, Soichi, when approaching the door, a man comes out older than there who makes him pass. Soichi is confused by that, and then sees that Toru peeks out of his room in a cloth to tell him to wait for her in the room while he showers. Without understanding anything, he asks himself who this man is. And right after that, this man introduces himself as Suta Miyamai, Toru's older brother. When he arrives in the room, Sota tells Soichi that she spent the night playing, and this had not happened since she was in high school. Then she starts showing her videos and photos of Toru when she was little, when she suddenly arrives with some glasses of juice. Seeing that they are watching videos from her childhood, she runs and turns off the TV, and she bothers Soichi to accompany her to her room to play. Being there, Proda starts to imagine sleeping in her bed, with her clothes and smell coming to smile at her for. But she interrupts him by telling him that it is quite hot, and opens the window, while Soichi admires the room, and notes some stuffed animals that she sees around. He asks her if she made them. She replies that yes, and that she can take the one she likes, and then Soichi stays with a rabbit that he sees. He tells her that Sota is worried about her, because she has been playing a lot lately. The point of missing school. Toru explains that she's also worried about her brother, since he arrives every night tired and has lost part of his social life, not understanding why he doesn't just leave the job, believing that maybe if she were a teacher she could understand it better. Then he tells her that Suta thinks that a skill job would do her good, but she doesn't think of one. Soichi remembers that she makes plushies and keychains very good, because the child who gave him his loved one. Toru tells Soichike that he was all night trying to pass a mission of Guzgal without success, because this mission is for 4 players, wishing that everyone could help her to pass it. But he reminds him that the boys are punished. This makes Toru feel bad because he believes that it was all his fault, and that's why he tells Soichike that he no longer wants to play, and that he better go home. At that moment, he leaves the room and locks himself in the bathroom of the room, but the protagonist insists on not leaving her alone, because arcades are more fun with friends. It bothers her that she also knows other people who would play with her, so she calls Hikari so that both have a battle in Guzgal and thus decide who is the best. She refuses because she only played before, because Takeshi had asked him, but he no longer cares about games, and that's why he hangs out. As soon as Toru leaves the bathroom, he realizes that Soichi is still there waiting for her, and he invites her to his most secret place. When they get there, she realizes that it is an old machine room, so both play and have fun in a different way. When they finish playing, they sit down to talk, and Toru tells her that she understands her brother's concern, and confesses that he does not want to go through the same, which will give him a break from video games, because he believes that everything must be done with moderation. He is happy to know that, and understands it, but in the same way he tells her that if she needs to change airs, she can go to him. Few days later, Soichi is under the stairs, playing alone, and with the rabbit company that Toru gave her. He begins to reflect about the absence of Toru, as he misses playing together, but he doesn't think it's a good idea to invite her again. When she suddenly goes down the stairs and greets him, Soichi is surprised and invites her to sit down. Toru tells him that he wants to teach him something, as he was working on a new toy in the shape of a deer called Shikamatsu. Then she tells him that a friend invited her to the event with Mima, and she wants to attend, but she asks Soichi if she is interested, to which he replies that no, because he does not like the noise. At that moment, she gets nervous to later show him an entrance, and then invite him to the event. Soichi accepts and laughing tells him that in this way it looks like an appointment. And when he hears this, Toru asks if he would like to go out with her. Proda asks her back the question. Then she points out that she would only accept if he accompanies her to the event and helps her. To what Soichi, without thinking, accepts. At that moment, Shiori and Tomoe appear, who were hidden on the stairs, so Soichi asks what they were doing there. Tomoe tells her that they were only worried and therefore went down to watch. Toru takes the opportunity to introduce Soichi, since Shiori does not know him. He also explains that Soichi is Tomoe's brother, in addition to being his partner in both games and real life. A few days later, Soichi arrives at the Komima event with his sister Tomoe and begins to look for Shiori's position. Among the people, he manages to see Shiori and go with her. Upon arrival, Soichi asks Toru why he doesn't see her, who turns out to be right next to him, only that she is dressed as her game character, Miliusa. And that is why he did not recognize her. Toru greets him with pity, since the costume he's wearing is more daring than he usually wears. Soichi admires him very much, and when Toru realizes, he just looks away and asks what he should do to help. Shiori explains that she will take care of the sales, and Tomoe will put on the costume he has prepared. Soichi, you just have to help Toru with the shikamatsu. After this, seeing that the stuffed animals do not attract so much attention, Shiori asks Soichi to put one to Toru as a decoration, while he decides where to put it. Toru feels sorry and gets upset because he thinks they are playing with her and runs between the crowd. Shiori asks Soichi to look for her while she takes care of the position. When he looks for her, he realizes that Toru is trapped among a group of photographers who confused her with a cosplayer. This one tries to rescue her, but among so many photographers, can't happen. And at that moment, Tomoe arrives, who had been late to be changing. When he notices that Toru is trapped, he decides to show his disguise that is based on Guskull. When he does that, everyone starts to look at her. And at that moment, Soichi takes the opportunity to take Toru and take her to a place where there are fewer people. She tells him that she needs help, because she wants to go to the bathroom, and she doesn't know how to take off her costume. So Soichi looks for a way to take it off. Toru suggests that he should see where the lock is, so he can take it off. While he's looking, both of them smile and feel embarrassed until he finally finds it, and she asks him to accompany her. After this, they continue with the event until it ends. And that night, the four of them gather to celebrate with a dinner. At the end of the dinner, everyone says goodbye, but Toru goes away first on the other side. And Soichi, without understanding, decides to follow her and reaches her in a square. He stops her and asks her if something is wrong, and she replies that all day she was disguised as a character she liked and did not receive a compliment from him. Soichi, surprised, explains that the day is not over yet and that he has not fulfilled his promise of having a date if he accompanied her to the event. So she asks him to have her now, and so he could tell her how he feels, because he knows they are a couple of games. But he also loves her and wishes her to be his girlfriend. She is surprised and does not know what to answer, so Soichi takes it as a rejection. But she jumps on him, hugging him and giving him a slap in the neck. He is puzzled and unable to move, while she explains that he also likes it, but wants to prepare things to study at the university. Then he wants to focus and dedicate himself to studying, so he waits for her to continue looking for her and waiting for her. At that moment, Soichi, very happy, hugs her and kisses her on the lip. 10 years later, Toru became a kindergarten teacher and receives her children at school, who get off the school bus with joy to see her. But she realizes that Ri is missing, who is his daughter, when suddenly Soichi gets off the bus with her in her sleeping arms, to which Toru exclaims that whenever he is with his dad, he falls asleep. Now in this new story we see Soichi in the classroom, while he listens to Hikari talk about his holidays. Instead, he only thinks that he could not enjoy his own. At that moment Hikari points the door at him, because there is a girl who is watching him and tells Soichi that they are looking for him. She barely tells him that she was coming to give him a manga that they saw as little kids, Mahou Shoujo Popri, which had not released a new edition since he was in high school until now, and that's why he bought it for her. At that moment, Hikari appears behind him to ask him if he likes anime. And this nervous one doesn't know what to say. When he interrupts Kyoko and responds to him, he explains that he is only kind, and he always talked to her about those things, since no one else does it, to prevent Hikari from thinking badly of him for watching that kind of manga. Then they leave, and Kyoko asks Soichi if he has thought of doing something later, to which she replies that no, she takes the opportunity to invite him to a place of pancake, which she has wanted to go to for a long time. Later she finds herself in that place, and Soichi eats a lot of pancakes to try to show Kyoko his manhood, because he still sees him as his childhood friend. The The confidant tells him that only a man could eat so much. Kyoko replies that if he had a girlfriend, he would seem more masculine, and at that moment he asks if she draws her attention. But I am a Chilean and explain that he is only worried about her. He likes to know if she is okay or if she has made friends. Upon hearing this, Kyoko gets upset and reminds him that she is no longer a girl. That night, Kyoko asks him to accompany her, because she wants to go see a club where she was invited. Upon arriving at Nao's school, two girls in the classroom who introduce themselves as Koharu Uno, president of the Domestic Economy Club, and vice president Naoto Kyoka, Soichi remembers that her sister spoke to them about that. And Koharu explains that Tomoe has helped her a lot, and apart from being her friend, she is also her captor. Soichi thinks about what she means by captor, and at that moment she sees a disguise somewhat daring at a door. So she gets scared and doesn't want to leave Kyoko alone there. But she, confident, tells her to go out and waits for her outside. While she waits, she keeps thinking what they will do to Kyoko, because it seems to her a somewhat murky club. At that moment, the girls go out dressed in a kimono, which reassures him, as he sees that it is not bad at all. Everyone sits down to eat dangos while they watch the stars, so Koharu ironically mentions that only one person with a kimono is missing. Soichi tells them that she can't do anything, which Kyuko remembers that when she was little, she would put on women's clothes to play with her. He explains that he only did that on certain occasions, since Kyuko's mom was always working, so he left her with her family and she got sad. Kyuko is surprised to see the moon, since she looks very pretty, and while she is distracted, Soichi admires how beautiful it is and smiles. Koharu asks Kyuko if she wants to join the club, but Soichi interrupts them by asking them explanations about why they buy used clothes for girls, because he does not want his childhood friend to join a clumsy club. This bothers Koharu, and he begins to argue. Suddenly, the former president of the Shiori Club interrupts them, who explains that the budget they have does not allow them to make kimonos and dango, so they buy used clothes and reuse the fabrics to make pieces that they can sell, and thus buy materials. Kyoko talks to Soichi and tells him that he is going to join the club, and he already understands it without a doubt, and wishes him good luck. A few months later, Soichi is in class when Ikuo suddenly arrives to talk to him about the good night's day. Soichi mentions that they can play wrestling like last year, but Ikuo apologizes and tells him that he already has plans. Both go out to talk in the hallway where Ikuo tells him that he likes someone, the girl he has known since he was in elementary school, and now she spends time with her. She likes to share with her more than with Soichi, to the point that she will leave the magician mask and gave all her cards to her sister. Soichi tells her that even if it makes him sad, she accepts him and asks him to notify her if she needs help. Have a good night with Tatsuya. Ikuo is happy to see that his friend supports him and tells him that he may make a good couple with Kyoko. That afternoon, Soichi goes to the Domestic Economy Club to look for her, and when she enters, she sees her lying on a piece of furniture with a dress. Kyoko wakes up and asks why she sees her like that, to which he replies that she is to blame for sleeping with a dress and wig. Kyoko explains that she is modeling for the dresses they make at the club, and then invites him to sit down to try on a tea and a cake he made. Soichi asks where the others are at the club, and she tells him that they must decorate the Christmas tree. He must go and tell him that the cake was very tasty, but when she goes to say goodbye, she stumbles. Soichi catches her. Both are red, but he gets nervous and leaves. Later, Soichi looks for Hikari to recommend him a date for a good night. This is because he changed his mind and wants to invite Kyoko, but Hikari was not paying him so much attention. Then he takes it seriously and explains that the girls now are looking for a more adult Christmas, but he does not understand what he is referring to with that. And to clarify his doubts, he takes out his laptop, and when looking online, a hotel for adults appears. She takes that away from him and tells him that he will choose a place. But seeing that it is a hotel, she gets nervous and she has no choice but to pretend that that is what she meant at first. Later, Soichi goes to the economy club, already determined to talk to Kyoko to ask for an appointment. But upon entering, she sees that Ruiz Sanho is there, who leaves the place upset. Inside, she tells Kyoko that she must talk to her, but seeing the girls upset, she asks them what happened to them. They answer that when they showed the design of the tree to Ruiz, He didn't like it, and he went to bother. Koharu explains that they must make arrangements for Christmas, but they no longer have a budget. For this reason, they send Soichi and Kyoko to look for materials, and he thinks they can use their old clothes, so they go to their house. That night, after looking for their clothes, they walk towards the club, and Kyoko asks him about what he wanted to talk to them. Soichi takes out his laptop and shows Kyoko several options of places of packages to go together on Christmas after the festival. She begins to see the places, and as she goes down, she meets the advertising of the adult hotel, which makes her surprised and completely blush. He notices this and asks what's wrong, and Kyoko asks if he wants to go to a hotel for adults. Soichi, very embarrassed, tries to explain that it was only an ad that appeared while he was looking for places to go. Kyoko explains that after the festival he must stay to pick up things, and does not know when it will end. He took it as a rejection and apologizes for asking. And while she walks, she asks him how he sees him, if as a friend or something else. She replies that he is good, he gives him second-hand things, and treats her well, so she thinks he's more than a friend. He's like a sister. I am a gossip when I hear the answer, but he understands it, and Kyoko apologizes for rejecting his invitation. He replies that he's fine and that maybe he'll ask someone from his class. When they arrive at the club, Kyoko doesn't find anyone, but then Koharu and Nao arrive and ask if she found any materials. She tells them that Soichi donated her old clothes, and they, grateful, ask her to give them the thanks. Although they ask where she is, Kyoko tells her that he wanted to take her to the club, but as it was too late, she preferred that she return home. Koharu tells her that Soichi looks like a docile boy, that he is worth it, because she would not go to a hotel of adults on a good night, making it clear that they heard them talking. Kyoko, quite embarrassed, throws herself on the furniture to cover herself, but now asks her if she sees Soichi as a sister. Then, why is she ashamed? Koharu tells Kyoko that even if she says she sees him like that, it is not true, and that she really sees him as a boy. So she disconcerted how serious he was. Kyoko believes she hurt Soichi, and now she does not know what to do. Koharu tells him not to worry and that to cheer up a boy he just has to show him his underwear. Nao explains that to check it he must try it and that it must seem like it was an accident. The next day, Kyoko is walking through the distracted sidewalk and passes the street without realizing that a truck is coming. At that moment, Soichi takes her arm and moves her back to a safe place. While they walk, she tells him that she was a little distracted since she couldn't sleep much, as there are many things to do at the club. Then she asks if she invited someone for a good night, and he answers that no. She also tells him that she went with Tatsuya to karaoke and found Hikari and her friends there. When leaving, Tatsuya invited Hikari for a good night, and she rejected him, like her two friends. Soichi thinks that Tatsuya did the fooling just to cheer him up that night, since he has done the same with Ikwa. Kyoko tells him to be glad that everything is as before, and wishes that he be his friend for a long time. Soichi tells him that he was thinking about it and that he thinks it's good, 'cause it's not bad to have another little sister. Kyoko tells Soichi that he has a gift for him, and he gives him a bag. He thanks him and asks him if it's a scarf made by hand. But she is surprised when she tells her that they are some underwear that she learned to make at the club. Soichi accepts them, when suddenly Kyoko asks her if she wants to go shopping with her, and without knowing where she is going, she accompanies her. When she arrives, Soichi is embarrassed, as Kyoko took him to an underwear store for women. At that moment, Soichi asks if she is not ashamed to buy underwear with him, and she replies that no, because it is as if it were her little sister. The victim responds that he will follow the current, but she shows him some over his clothes, and this one, when imagining it, cannot contain the pain. After leaving, he complains to her because he left the store before paying. And he responds that he could not have held back the pain of seeing them together there. She asks him what's wrong, and what could have happened is that they were confused with a couple. Soichi tells him that he will have to avoid going shopping for a while with her. And Kyoko tells him that he should go, because he must do the Christmas tree arrangement. The next day, Soichi walks through the park on his way home, when he suddenly sees a person with the costume of a mago mask. He approaches, and when he arrives there, he realizes that it is Ikuo, who falls for one of the games. And when he helps him, he realizes that they are there, Toru and Shiori. Toru tells him that they were practicing for the Santa contest when Ikuo passed by and asked for the mask. He explains that what he wanted did not work, that he had invited the girl he likes on Christmas Eve. She rejected him. Soichi, seeing the situation in which his friend is, tells him that at least he really risked it, so he asks him again to play wrestling on Christmas Eve. But Ikuo answers that he can't, because he feels like a coward. Soichi makes him know that he is not, and that he is a man to take risks, and this makes him understand what he should do now. Now Soichi arrives at the school festival, where he sees Yuki in a hurry, as he must make a venado recipe, and he does not know. He offers to help her, and thanks to that they manage to finish the food, and that's why Yuki thanks her. She tells him that with what he did, he no longer needs help, and asks him if he will not go for Hikari. Soichi replies that no, because he has another person, and Yuki mentions that she is the first girl. For this, the amazed asks how he knows. Yuki tells him that Kyoko has changed a lot in this time, and that it is surely because of him, and that if things are going well, he should introduce his new girlfriend to Hikari and surprise her. Later, Kyoko is working at the Club of Economy, selling cakes with his companion. When Soichi arrives and greets her, he walks to where she is directly and tells her again that he needs to talk to her alone. Kyoko explains that he cannot go until he finishes, and that there will be a party later, so he believes that it will end late. Soichi tells him that it does not matter, that in the same way he will be waiting for her on the roof, withdrawing later. As he climbs the roof, he looks out the window and sees a couple hugging, kissing, so he hides and waits for Kyoko to arrive. She is eating with the girls from the club, celebrating the year they had, and the sales of that day. Kyoko thanks them for everything they taught her, and tells them that she had a lot of fun. She also tells them that what she learned helped her grow a lot, and Soichi praised her by telling her that she was no longer a girl, but she thinks that's not enough, because there is something that makes her even happier. Koharu understands it, so he offers her a meal. Kyoko and tells her to go, while on the roof. Will be cold. When she goes up, she finds Soichi looking out the window, and she scares him by touching him with her foot. From the impression he falls, but without being able to scream since they would hear him. And then Kyoko looks through the window too, and she is embarrassed. She looks at Soichi and kicks him. After that, she climbs to the roof while he continues to try to explain her. Well, in reality it was happening and unintentionally he saw them, and it was difficult to look away. But he doesn't like to see that kind of thing. Kyoko mentions that he went there just because he wanted to talk about something important, but she doesn't like to be seeing those things. Soichi apologizes and tells him that he has been weird today. Kyoko asks if he cares about something because it seems that he didn't sleep much either, and he replies that she is the reason he is like that. He couldn't sleep much because he was thinking about her, and remember that when they were looking at the moon, he saw her with another light. Kyoko asks what she means by that, and he replies that she thought she was very pretty and wanted to spend more time with her. But she was very busy, and they didn't see each other often. He also confesses that he wants her to see him as a man, and that he doesn't want things to be like before. She tells him that things are different, but that he rejected her before because she invited her to eat pancakes and thought she was like the others. That's when Soichi asks if she can assume that she no longer sees him as a little sister. Kyoko answers that yes, but he questions if he is only satisfied with being a man, to which he responds that no, and that he wants to go out with her, asking her to be his girlfriend. Kyoko, in a more peaceful way, tells him that he understands that he will think about it while they eat, because the bank is very cold. Soichi uses the underwear that she gave him and places them so that she can feel. Kyoko tells him to feel himself, and to open his legs so that he can sit down too, since that way they can get in the heat. Then she explains that she wants to tell him something, but she doesn't know if looking into his eyes she can say it. There she takes the opportunity to eat while he tells Soichi that at that moment she wears the braids that she bought with him in the store. Soichi, without understanding anything, asks her why she says it, and she replies that could only be told to him and no one else, and that they exchanged glances at the store. He apologizes because at that moment he was seeing her with lassoed eyes. Kyoko confesses that it's okay because that made her feel happy, because she didn't see her that way before, and she didn't trust her as a woman. Soichi explains that she doesn't know why, because she just thought that seeing a childhood friend would be bad. And she thought the same. That's why, thinking that he was a girl, she tried to hide her feelings. But she realized that she was happier if she saw her as a woman. He also tells her that after seeing him like that, she was embarrassed every day for daring to buy bra with him, and that he did it only for advice from Koharu, who told him that boys like to see underwear, and that seeing him blushed encouraged her enough. Soichi tries to take the plate of food, but when she takes it away, she touches it unintentionally, and Kyoko asks him if men wish women so much on a good night. He replies that it is something like that, and that there is an order, because now he would have to talk to his mother. Kyoko gets up and tells Soichi that that's not enough, because she must see what he sees. Soichi gets up and hugs her to confess that she loves her, and she happily tells him that she feels the same. After that, she just closes her eyes, and when she sees this, Soichi gives a passionate kiss. Since Kyoko is cold, Soichi tells him to put on the socks he gave her, because Santa already gave him a Christmas gift. Now we spend 10 years in the future, where Kyoko is in a park playing with his daughter when Soichi arrives running. He says it took longer than expected with the author, and Kyoko tells him that the novice he has seems more busy, since he works until Christmas. Soichi tells him that despite that, his manga editor instinct tells him that the next year he will be a star when his manga is released. At that moment, he approaches his daughter asking if he has finished working, and he replies that yes, and that now they will go to eat cake. But she wants to eat Odin. Soichi Allegre tells her that it will be Odin night then. So Kyoko mentions that she is very conscious of her. Then they take each other by the hand and go away in family, ending the anime like this. And so far today's video. I hope you liked it. Here you can find more summaries like this if you support the video.